one little thing is I picked up the second book in the trilogy, Araman, by John French. So I got Araman the Sorcerer this week. I'd already read this one here, the Araman Exile, and apparently there's a third coming out this year. It says 2015 on the inside of the book. This was a really, really good book if you like Thousand Suns and Chaos. It's sort of what, a lot of the Chaos books are kind of what got me wanting to do little painting projects, which kind of leads into my next discussion. You guys know I always complain and whine, so I'm not going to call this video a rant, because it would be nothing new. By me calling it a rant, it would be something new, like I'm actually being negative or something, but I always can find something to complain about as well as speak highly of, go back and forth. These are just my 6th edition, or excuse me, I guess they're 6th and early 7th, I guess 6th edition codexes. So, I had my video, this is my 6th edition Eldar, which has been replaced. I have the Space Marines, which I bought last November, and then around the same time, or maybe it was December, I bought Daemons and Chaos Space Marines. And really the purpose, this one I have to have because it's my main army, but my next playable army that I really want to have is my Loyalists. Which of course I want to add a Splash of Mechanicum to. And then I have some painting projects with the Chaos stuff, which I was probably only going to really do for Kill Team or just small stuff. But whenever I have the models for 40k, I kind of like to have the book. It's a matter of reading, it's a matter of, being able to do a small pickup game or something like that. But since this Eldar Codex came out less than 2 years after being released, and I can't imagine that if in June the Space Marines gets released that it's that much different as far as the time period. And I'm thinking we're just a step away from Chaos being redone once that happens. And it got me really thinking, these are high quality books. I love these books. I love the reading. I like the product that GW produces. But I think to myself, and so that's why in some ways I don't always balk at the price, because I really like the product. But I think to myself, if there is going to be a new trend where things are going to be done, every 2 years, every year, look at Imperial Knights, like for the folks that bought the first Imperial Knight book, I feel sorry for those folks. It's really quick, and I think if you play one army, it's less of a big deal to justify $70 every 2 years. Or if you even collect just one army. Because really you're looking at what? And I'm talking Canadian dollars, folks, but you're talking 45 Canadian dollars every 2 years. What is that? 35, 40 US, depending on the day. But and they're jumping all over the place in the size of the books and the prices, but I'm just kind of speaking in generalities. And I say the 70, I don't even know why I said 45, because actually I just paid $70 for the Eldar, so you're looking at 60, 65 US for that. But no, it's because you do it every 2 years, right? Potentially, if that's what they stick with. And so if that happens, if you like the idea of collecting multiple armies, and it seems reasonable that you would want the book to be able to use them, now you're looking at $280, $300 every 2 years just in replacing books. And that's not actually the big rule book, right, or anything else. There's enough discussions on pricing out there for this hobby that I don't need to really go into it, but when it all comes down to it, we spend a lot of money on the hobby. If it's not the models, if it's not because you like more than one game, it's not just this one, it's, your workhorse brushes, your paints, maybe you like to airbrush, maybe you do something with your modeling that requires a lot more. It's all the stuff to do your basing, and there's just so much stuff, right? And then of course just to set up a proper table with mats and buildings and everything. And so, I don't know, guys, I have trouble with replacing this, or even like if I get Mechanicum a 5th book every 2 years, maybe even sooner, because that's the way the seems the direction it's going to be going. So what do we do? Just bite the bullet and just whatever? I'm not saying that we're going to change GW, or I'm not even indicating that by any means. But I just had the idea that if Like, I think personally the way to go for me is to maintain a core army, and maybe even two. But if I have painting projects that get me into doing this stuff, I think I may skip editions with certain armies and just say, like, Chaos, I'll paint my army. But if they come out with another Codex, I essentially won't really just play that army, you know, until the next edition and the next Codex. And I'll just sort of skip, you know, and sort of conserve my money that way, because it's not even just a matter of the money. I mean, it bothers me that this is a waste. Like, I haven't used this yet because I'm just painting these guys, and it's being replaced. And so it's a waste of a quality book, just the actual book itself. And for me, I think it's expensive with everything else we want to do. And so, not really meant to be a rant, guys, but you know, it's food for thought, because I don't think, you know, when I got the Eldar the book I used in 5th edition, that one was many years, you know, removed from its prior. And so somebody could remind here how long it was, but I believe it was at least, if I remember people talking, I think it was 4 or 5 years. You know, I don't remember exactly, but it might even be more. So really less than 2 is a big departure. That's a big difference in precedent, you know, setting. I think probably the prior one was too long, like way too long. This one is like the opposite. I think it's kind of too short of a period of time in between. I don't want this to get too long, guys, but that's sort of my hobby update. Interested in your thoughts on everything from the tips and things that I just sort of, for myself, that I've just been doing differently, to the Codex discussion, to Wraith Guard and magnetization and all of that stuff. So hope you guys have a good weekend. Take care.